It was around 2 a.m. when I felt it again, that heavy, holy stillness that makes you forget how to breathe. I wasn't asleep, but I wasn't awake either. It was like something between dream and revelation. For weeks, I'd been praying one question I couldn't get out of my heart. Lord, why does everything look so peaceful, yet feel so wrong? And that night he answered, not with thunder, not with fire, but with silence that spoke louder than anything I'd ever heard. I sat up in bed, heart pounding because the air in the room felt alive. I knew he was near. I whispered, Jesus, what's coming? And before I could take another breath, I felt his voice, not in my ears, but inside my chest. Peace without truth is the devil's masterpiece. I froze. Those 6 words hit harder than any sermon I've ever heard. I wanted to ask what he meant, but before I could, the room began to fade, and I found myself standing in a place that looked familiar, but it wasn't earth as I knew it. It was a world bathed in light. Yet cold, everything looked perfect, cities glowing, people smiling, nations celebrating. There was no war, no fear, no hatred. And yet, under that calm surface, something felt wrong, like peace had a pulse that wasn't alive. I looked around and asked, Lord, is this heaven? He said softly, no, this is what man will call peace in the days to come. Then he showed me I saw leaders shaking hands promising unity, churches merging with the world's systems to spread love, everyone chanting the same word, peace. But when I looked closer, I saw chains hidden beneath their smiles. The people weren't free, they were silenced. Lord, I whispered, they look happy. And he replied, they are not happy. They are numb. He walked beside me, not as a vision of fire this time, but in quiet grief. He said, the enemy will not bring chaos first. He will bring calm. He knows that panic wakes people up, but comfort puts them to sleep. That line shattered me. I realized the most dangerous darkness doesn't roar, it whispers. It doesn't fight faith, it imitates it. And that's what I was seeing everywhere I looked. People were applauding peace treaties, unity movements, and new beginnings. But the presence of God was gone. The worship had turned into performance. The truth had turned into agreement. And the cross, the very symbol of sacrifice, had become decoration. I turned to him, trembling. Jesus, what is this? He said, this is the deception of peace, the moment when truth becomes offensive and silence feels holy. I could feel the weight of his sadness as he continued. They will call it progress. They will call it awakening. But it is the slow death of conviction. A world where no one disagrees. Because no one truly believes. I felt tears fill my eyes. Lord, is there hope? He looked at me, and for the first time his eyes looked like fire again. Always. But only for those who refuse to trade my truth for their comfort. The ground beneath me shook, not violently, but like something ancient was waking up. I saw 2 lines forming in the distance, one made of light, one made of shadow. Both looked peaceful at first, but as they grew, I noticed the difference. One was built on surrender. The other on silence. He said, in the days ahead, you will see the world divide, not by war, not by politics, but by peace. Those who love truth will be accused of hatred. Those who love me will be called the enemies of peace. My stomach turned. Because I knew this wasn't a prophecy about some faraway time. This was now. He continued, the greatest test of this generation will not be persecution, but persuasion. I asked, what do you mean? And he said, when peace becomes more important than truth, my people will be forced to choose between me and the world's approval. For a long time, neither of us spoke. All I could hear was the sound of distant singing, soft, haunting, beautiful. I turned toward it and saw a group of people kneeling in a dimly lit room. No microphones, no stage, Just worship that sounded like weeping and hope mixed together. I felt him whisper, "This is my remnant. When the world's peace collapses, their song will rise." I watched that small group worship in silence. No lights, no applause. Just trembling voices saying the name of Jesus like it was the only thing keeping them alive. And maybe it was, he said softly, "They are the ones who didn't bow to the calm." I asked, "The calm?" He nodded. Yes, the calm before the great division. Suddenly the vision shifted. The scene around us began to flicker. The singing turned into static. The people who once smiled in the streets now looked confused. The peace they had built was cracking like glass. I saw headlines flash across the sky. "World united in love. Faith without borders. Humanity finally free." And beneath those headlines, a whisper spread like wind. "If you still believe in sin, you are the problem." That sentence hit me like thunder, because I realized the deception wasn't about war or chaos. It was about definition, changing what love means, redefining holiness until nothing is sacred anymore. Jesus looked at me, eyes burning with sorrow and fire. "They will build a world without me and call it heaven," he said. "But it will be the loneliest peace mankind has ever known." I couldn't speak. All I could do was listen as he continued. "In the name of tolerance, truth will be silenced. In the name of unity, my word will be rewritten. And many who call themselves mine will follow the easier peace, the peace that costs them nothing." Then I saw it, two crowds forming. The first stood beneath banners of light and love, but their light came from screens, not the spirit. Their smiles were wide, their hearts empty. They applauded everything because conviction had died. The second group was smaller, trembling, praying, unseen. They weren't angry. They weren't loud. They were simply awake. And their eyes carried a different kind of peace, not comfort, but clarity. "Who are they?" I asked. He smiled faintly. "They are my peacekeepers, not the world's. They will walk through the storm without bowing to the calm." The ground began to shake again. This time the false peace shattered like glass, and beneath it, the truth started to rise like fire from the earth. People screamed. Some ran toward the light, others hid in the smoke. He whispered, "Division has begun." I said, "Lord, I don't understand. Why divide if you came to unite?" He looked straight into my soul. "Because unity without truth is slavery, and I love you too much to let you stay comfortable in the lie." Those words cut deeper than any vision I've ever had. Because in that moment I realized the shaking wasn't punishment. It was mercy. The world wasn't being destroyed. It was being revealed. He stretched out his hand and the vision froze. Everything went silent. The fake light, the smoke, the noise, gone. All that remained was his voice. "Tell them the danger isn't coming. It's already here. They are being lulled to sleep by kindness that has no conviction, by peace that demands silence instead of surrender." "But my peace," he paused, "my peace wakes people up." I felt tears streaming down my face. "What do you want me to tell them?" I whispered. He said, "Tell them I'm not calling them to panic. I'm calling them to prepare. Not for war, but for wisdom. Not to fight each other, but to stand for what's real." Then he leaned closer. I could feel his presence like fire on my skin. "When the world says, 'Agree to keep the peace,' I will whisper, 'Stand for the truth.' That's how you'll know which side you're on." The vision began to fade, but his final words stayed carved in my spirit. "Peace that hides the truth is poison. But peace that carries the cross, that's mine." When I opened my eyes, the room was quiet again. The candle on my table had burned low, its flame trembling. And I realized, so was I trembling not from fear, but from understanding, because the message wasn't about the world's future. It was about our hearts right now. How easily we trade conviction for comfort. How quickly we mistake silence for peace that night. I wrote this in my journal. True peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of truth that refuses to die. And maybe that's what he was trying to show me all along, that 2025 won't be remembered for the wars we fight, but for the peace we chose and what it cost us. So if you're watching this and you've been feeling uneasy about the world's calm, trust that feeling. Because maybe it's not anxiety. Maybe it's discernment. The deception of peace has already begun. And when the world says, everything's fine, the wise will whisper, stay awake. Because real peace doesn't come from treaties. It comes from truth. And truth always divides before it heals.